Take the king inside, madam. Speak to him in private.
What caused this quarrel? Who began it?
Rumors were mentioned. Unfounded suspicions. Then the anger that follows unjust accusations.
Both men were at fault, then.
Yes, madam, they were.
Tell me all the details. You can speak without fear.
We have troubles enough. Best to keep silent in all our interests. Let sleeping dogs lie.
Your intentions are honorable, but your advice is pregnant with disaster. All the guilt falls on me.
Great king, believe me when I say again what I have said before. We would be stark mad to counsel an action so insane as to cast you out without proof.
We need your help and guidance. We all remember how, like a pilot in that desperate storm, half-wrecked you navigated us to harbor.
You are our captain in rough weather or calm.
Please tell me, what harm can Crayon have done to provoke such fury so suddenly? I am worthy your trust.
These old men mean well, but you matter to me far more. It's Crayon. I'm sickened with disgust at the scope of his conspiracy.
What conspiracy, and why do you accuse my brother?
He says I'm responsible for Laius' murder.
Has he any evidence, or is it hearsay?
He says nothing himself. That corrupt fortune teller speaks for him with his bird talk and prophecy.
And is that all? Set your mind at rest. No one can forecast the future. I know what I'm talking about from personal experience. I have proof. When Laius was alive, an oracle told him, not the god himself, but through his mouthpiece, that he would be killed by his own son, our own child, and it didn't happen. Laius was killed by persons unknown, foreign robbers, according to the story, at the place where 3 roads meet. As for the child, it was abandoned on a deserted mountain before it was 3 days old by a servant. Kings never commit such acts themselves. To make doubly sure, its ankles were pierced and strapped together with leather thongs. So that prediction didn't come true, in spite of Apollo. The prophecy of parricide wasn't fulfilled. Laius was murdered, but not as he feared, by his own son. The oracle had been unambiguous, its meaning quite plain. So why take notice of these fortune tellers and astrologers? The gods always get their own way, without anyone's help, when they're ready.
Something you said. Jocasta, I remember. My brain's a turmoil. Feelings, memories.
Why do you look at me so strangely? What's the matter?
You said, didn't you, that Laius was butchered at a place where 3 roads meet?
Place in focus near the junction where the road to Thebes forks to Daulia and Delphi.
And how long ago did all this happen?
You hadn't arrived. The news became public a short while before you became king.
Oh, Zeus. What will you do to me?
Oedipus, you look terrified. What have I said?
Not yet. Don't ask me yet. How old was Laius? What kind of man was he?
Big man, hair graying, about your build.
Dear God, without knowing it, I may have damned myself just a moment ago.
Don't look at me like that. What do you mean?
Maybe Tiresias could see after all. Terrifying, but possible. Tell me one more thing.
Why are you frightening me? I'll tell you everything.
Who was with the king? A few attendants? Or was he traveling in state with servants and armed men?
5 men, all told. One of them, a herald. Laius himself rode in a carriage.
Nothing could be clearer than that. Every detail. Where did you get this information?
There was one survivor. Eventually he got back to Thebes.
And is he still here now?
No, he isn't. By the time he got back, everything had changed in the city. You were king in Laius' place. When he saw how things were, he came to me and begged me on his knees to let him go back to the country, to be a shepherd. He said he wanted to be done with Thebes, out of sight, out of mind.
I want him here, at once, today. Can we find him?
Of course we can. But why are you so anxious?
Oh, my dear wife, I'm frightened of what I've done, what I'm doing. I've already said far too much. I must see the shepherd, ask him some questions.
You will see him, we'll send for him, but why are you so worried? You must tell me. I do have a right to know.
Oh, yes. Yes. You have a right to know. If the truth of this is what I think it is, No one has a better right to know than you. I'll tell you the whole story. My father, Oedipus, was Corinth-born, and Merope, my mother, came from Doris. I was an up-and-coming fellow, very much the man to watch, until one day an odd thing happened. An astonishing thing which caused more trouble, perhaps, than it merited, but which I took seriously. At a banquet one day, a man who had drunk too much jeered at me and said I was not my father's son. I was very hurt, angry and insulted, but I kept it to myself for the rest of that day. The next morning, I went to my parents, both father and mother together, and asked them question after question, almost compelling them to tell me the truth. They were very angry that anyone should dare say such a thing and put my mind at rest as best they could. But a thing like that gets under your skin. I couldn't forget it. And the story got around a good deal, as these things do. So, without telling my parents, I went to the oracle at Delphi. I got no answer to the question I asked. A catalogue of horrors and miseries instead. That I would marry my own mother and father children on her, conceived incestuously, and become a public outcast for it, notorious throughout the world. As if this weren't enough, I would kill my own father. What could I do? I ran as fast and as far from Corinth as any man could, always checking my distance from that forbidden city by the position of the stars, so that those dreadful prophecies could not possibly come true. The route I took brought me into that part of the country where, according to you, Laius was murdered. Now listen, Jocasta, this is the truth in every detail. I reached a place where 3 roads meet. I was confronted by a herald, ahead of a carriage drawn by horses and carrying a passenger, just as you described, gray-haired, my build. The man in front shouted at me to clear the road, and the old man, too, rudely ordered me to get out of his way. The driver barged into me, so I hit him hard. I was furious by now, uncontrollable, but the old man in the carriage was watching for his chance. He waited till I passed him, and then he struck me full on the head with his 2-pronged stick, the kind you use for goading your horses to make them gallop. I paid him back with interest and double quick. I whacked him savagely with my staff and knocked him out of the carriage. He fell flat in the road. The others attacked me, of course, and I killed them, every one. Now, if that old man was remotely connected with Laius, if the king's blood ran in his veins, is there any man on earth more miserable than I am? Every god will hate me, and all men. No one will speak to me, friend or stranger. No one will take me into his house. I cursed the murderer, and the weight of that curse now falls on me. These same hands that murdered him have fondled his wife.
Your story is terrifying, great king.
Now, don't give up hope. There was an eyewitness.
Until you've questioned him, say nothing.
The shepherd is my last chance. I'll cling to that.
Even when he gets here, what possible help can he be?
One detail, and it's crucial. If his story corroborates yours, I am proved innocent.
What detail? Does it matter? What did I say?
In your version of the shepherd's evidence, the king was killed by robbers. Robbers, plural. Now, if he says the same, still calls them robbers, I'm in the clear. One man is not a group of men. Plural is plural, not singular. But if he describes a single traveler walking alone, then quite obviously, all the evidence will point to me.
Oh, but he did say that. I'm certain. He can't change his story now. He spoke in public. The whole city heard him. And even if his evidence varies in detail, by no possible stretch of the imagination can he pretend that Laius died as predicted. A son of mine would kill him, the oracle said, and it didn't happen. My poor little boy killed no one. He was the one who died years before any of this happened. That's how much oracles are worth. In future, whatever they say, one way or the other, I won't waste my time with any of them.
That's the truth of the matter. But we'll speak to the shepherd. Send someone to fetch him now, this minute.
At once. We'll get him at once. Come inside. I'll do nothing without your approval. Nothing.